Hello everyone, and welcome to today's LinkedIn Live session on breaking the silence with men's mental health and wellbeing. I'm Leanne from the One Group, and I'm joined today by Claire Harris from Promote Mental Health and Stuart from Andy's Man Club. Claire, would you like to give us a little introduction with yourself before we begin?
Yes, thanks, Leanne. I'm Claire Harris. I'm a chartered health psychologist. I run a mental health training business called Promote Mental Health. What I do is go into organisations to help them upskill, learn more about mental health and wellbeing. So I offer mental health first aid training, bespoke training around stress, resilience and self-care, work-life balance, and help them adjust that workplace culture so people feel comfortable seeking support and having conversations around mental health in the workplace.
Brilliant. And would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Hi everyone, I'm Stuart from Andy's Man Club. Andy's Man Club is a free to attend peer-to-peer support group every Monday across the UK. We'll talk a bit more about that shortly. But yeah, Andy's Man Club is that safe space where you can come and talk about your problems, what's going on, and be able to be in that non-judgmental environment to understand yourself. I walked through the door 2.5 years ago, and it's really helped me understand myself and have those open conversations with friends, family and colleagues.
And the One Group has worked with Andy's Man Club. Earlier on in the year, we did a charity football match for you guys, which was really successful. And we also worked with Claire Harris earlier on in the year. I think it was May when we did our LinkedIn Live for Moving More for Your Mental Health as well. So if you're interested in that, please take a look on our YouTube. I would also like to say that this is a live session. So if you do have any comments or questions, please just pop them in the comment section and we'll do our best to answer them throughout the session. So moving on to my first question then, guys, is what do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about men's mental health?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions is, you know, there's so much stigma around us being men, manning up, standing up. And, you know, we hide behind our pride, we hide behind those masks because we feel that, you know, we can't show those weaknesses, we can't show our vulnerability because it makes us feel weak, it makes us embarrassed, etc. So I think it really is about opening up the conversation and making it feel more comfortable for men to be able to talk.
Yeah, I think also that there's a misconception that it's not as common in men and that men don't want to talk about it. I think because of those barriers to accessing and having conversations, there's a misconception that men don't want to have a conversation. But once men do start to talk, we've had a conversation, you know, once they do access Andy's Man Club or other services, you know, they need that support. But often they're waiting till a real crisis point before they go for that support.
And how do you think societal expectations or those stereotypes that we have impact men's willingness to seek help for their mental health? And I've added this in here. Is this a generational thing? Because obviously we're aware of this men's mental health issue being, you know, building the awareness. So are we seeing that this sort of closed knit group is in the later generations and the earlier generations that are coming through are actually feeling free and happy to talk about their mental health issues?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it is shifting. I think younger generations now are, when they're looking for jobs, they want to know how that organisation is going to look after them. So what are the wellbeing benefits of me coming in your organisation? And those conversations are becoming more open. I think the older generations, there's still that, you know, men tend to not seek support for physical or mental health until they're at a crisis point. So that kind of delay in seeking support that is linked into those stereotypes again of, you know, I have to be strong, I'm the breadwinner, and, you know, I don't want to seem as weak. Sometimes people don't want it to impact their work as well. But I think it is shifting. I think we're seeing that younger generations are now more open about mental health. I think, Stuart, you were saying you found that in people coming into Andy's Man Club.
Yeah, we're 18 plus, but we're seeing a lot more of those the younger generation come through the door. I think with the older generation, it's about breaking the stigma that we've all grown up with, of not talking about your problems. With the younger generation, there's a want and a need to maintain their mental health, understand their mental health, and be able to move forward with that. Certainly the work we do alongside universities, colleges, etc., there's a real passion within the younger generations to, like you said, Claire, there's a real passion for them to understand that there is support there for them, and how much support is out there. It's an ongoing intake of what they can get and what's out there to be able to support them.
Brilliant. Claire, I think, did you want me to share your slides now?
Please, yeah. So we've put some slides together. We've got some statistics around men's mental health, which we wanted to have a chat to. One of the reasons we scheduled this call today was we've just had Movember, which is about men's health in general. And that first one, we know men are dying 4.5 years earlier than women, and that's due to suicide rates. It's due to rates of testicular cancer and also prostate cancer. So some of you will have noticed your friends and family may have been doing the Movember, where they're growing moustaches to raise awareness of those issues. And we know mental health is a big part of that. So around suicide rates, this first one surprised me. So I've done a lot of suicide prevention training. Globally, one man dies by suicide every minute. So the rates are still really, really high. In the UK, we know that 75% of those suicides are men. And they're highest in the age range of 45 to 49. So it's the biggest killer of men under 50. And Stuart, I think you'd noticed that you've got varying ages coming into Andy's Man Club, haven't you? But there's particular issues around those age groups.
Yeah, certainly those, sort of late 30s to early 50s is, a lot of the guys are within that age range, walking through the door. And I think it brings up, that, life does change a bit in that age range. And if something happens alongside, we're trying to adjust, we're getting older. And then if something happens alongside that, you lose your job or your relationship breaks down, etc., then I think that's where we struggle, because if a relationship breaks down, in our 40, when you're 18, you've got the world ahead, but in our 40s, it's like, what do I do? Am I going to be on my own for the rest of my life? Those sort of questions start to appear.
Yeah, and I guess it ties in as well with, kind of financial constraints, mortgages and property and all of those complexities of, the relationship breaking down as well. There's a lot of that pressure in that age as well. Yeah, we've got a couple of other statistics. So men tend to self-medicate with alcohol and drugs. So as we said before, men don't tend to go for support for physical or mental health until they're really struggling and they're really unwell. They may try to manage with substances, and they're 3 times more likely to be dependent. This surprised me again as well. 40% of men have never spoken to anyone about their mental health. I just wondered how you find that when people do come to Andy's Man Club, Stuart.
I think that's certainly, I can see why that figure is so high, because I think, when just walking through the door of Andy's Man Club and my own self experience is a lot of, we might walk through the door with problems that are going on now, but once our stories start to unfold and we start to talk about things, we've been carrying that most of our life. There's stuff that we've carried and it's built up, and we've got the weight of the world on our shoulders because we haven't talked about it. We haven't spoken to anybody about it. And then once you start to unload that and unwrap that, everything becomes that little bit more lighter. And no,
it's great. It's a really good way in, really good support for people. We know that mental health problems often go underdiagnosed, particularly in men. The emotions are not always the main symptom, so we don't pick up on it. We get physical symptoms, or we're assuming it's something else. And men are less likely to access psychological support. And Stuart, you were saying earlier that, once people do come through the doors of Andy's Man Club, you may then signpost to other things. But I think it's that first step that's really hard for men.
Yeah, it's that starting point for so many. once you start to get your confidence back and start to feel comfortable talking about your own problems with a bunch of lads on a Monday night that get it, have been through it, similar sort of stuff, I think it starts to build your confidence that you actually do go out there and want to, if you're feeling that you need that extra support, you do start to go out there and want to, and then there's that need to be able to get that extra support.
So that once we've had that conversation and started to offload, we can then think about other services and other support that's around. A couple of other slides. So this was a question that we talked about before the session. So why is it harder for men to talk about mental health? We've touched on those gender stereotypes, haven't we, already, about being the sort of the head of the family, that cultural thing where, we've got to be strong. Men are strong. They don't show any weakness. We don't talk about emotions. That is shifting a little bit. I think the social networks are very, very different as well. So my husband does running training with another friend of his. I'll often say, how's your friend doing? How's his family? And what did you talk about while you were running? Well, we spoke about running. So I think the social networks that men and women have are very, very different and function in a different way. Men's tend to be a little more transactional, so they'll be talking about things or sharing information. Different social interactions for women. And are there any others that you can relate to on there, Stuart? The kind of things that you're noticing in people coming in?
Yeah, I think the big one is social networks, social interactions.
Yeah.
We've talked earlier about, football. You go along to the footy, we talk about the footy, we talk about what our favourite TV programmes are.
Yeah.
I can remember going along to the footy with the lads and then coming home and my partner asking me, how was Paul's wife this weekend? And I weren't talking about that. So we will go along and we'll talk about those things, but not talk about what's actually going on and maybe holding us back or what we're going through right now. Definitely less self-awareness. I think we hide behind that mask so much that we're almost not aware of how deep we're going in, if that makes sense.
I think it's possibly sometimes a coping strategy, like we were saying about the football. It's I can go and watch the football. I don't have to worry about anything else. I'm in the moment. It's mindful. I can enjoy it, and it's always pushing the other side, which is a coping strategy. But also, we're ignoring it all as well, aren't we? We're not kind of realizing perhaps what we're struggling with, or that we need support in it. That delay in seeking support.
Talking about coping mechanisms, I have another question here.
Yes.
Can you share any more coping mechanisms that you know about that have been effective for others in managing their mental well-being?
I think for me, obviously talking. I see guys walk through those doors on a Monday night, and just opening up on that first night is, you see the pressure release. You see that relief in their face when they're sat in that room with others. And then over the weeks, you hear things changing at home, where they're having conversations with family members, partners, colleagues, about being honest about how they're feeling, etc. And just seeing that load lighten. Also for me, bringing myself, I've suffered with anxiety most of my life, and bringing myself back to the present really helps me cope. Because the projection of, something 6 months down the road, worrying about that, I can't change that. That's not going to change. But in the past, I would have sat with that for the next 6 months until it happened, and built myself up into a right old state, to be honest. Bringing myself back to the present and going, right there, I can't change that now. What can I change? Am I safe? Yes, I'm at home. Eating's on. I'm happy. I'm talking to you guys. Yeah, everything's all right.
Yeah. I think that worrying about the future, because that does kind of generate the anxiety, and we can kind of try to bring ourselves a bit more perspective by saying, will I be worrying about this thing in 6 months' time? It's not going to be an issue in 6 months' time. So that kind of sometimes gives us perspective. But I think those self-care things as well, like what works for you, things like exercise, taking a break, getting outside, all of those things are going to be beneficial in terms of coping strategies.
Absolutely.
Sorry, carry on, Claire. I interrupted you.
No, that's all right.
One thing I will add just quickly, and it was the change in my job role from being in construction to what I do now, was working from home, and I'd find myself getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning and being straight on the laptop, straight on the phone, sitting there all day, not having a break. And I spoke to someone at a wellbeing expo I went to where that all changed. And I now get up at 7 o'clock. I still get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I have my breakfast, have my coffee, don't touch my phone, don't touch the laptop. I then leave the house, whether that's to take my dog Frank for a walk, or whether it's to go down the shops, whatever, or just walk around the block. And then when I come back, I put the key in the door and I open the door and I start work. And I do the same at lunchtime. And if I'm working from home, I do the same at lunchtime. I do the same at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's really good habits, because there's that temptation now with home working is to, my kids now take themselves to school, so I can start straight away. And, sometimes I'm straight on the laptop, straight on the devices. I'm doing a similar thing, Stuart, now, getting outside, priority, either getting out for a run or going for a walk first thing to get some light, particularly this time of year. Trying to take a break at lunch as well, because otherwise it's easy to slip into those habits, isn't it, at home when we're working at home? Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
And we've got a couple of other slides. So I think in the discussions, we wanted to talk about how you identify warning signs, because sometimes these present quite differently in men. So what we're looking for really is a change in behaviour, perhaps someone withdrawing as well, because we know men don't tend to reach out. It can be important that we're looking after the people around us. So if we notice any of these signs in somebody, having a conversation, asking how they're doing, a couple of times. So signs that are more common in men as well: substance misuse, as we've said, getting angry or irritable, working obsessively, changes in sleep. We know sleep is so important for mental health, and if that's starting to shift a little bit, it's going to have an impact on well-being. But the key thing is noticing if symptoms are kind of ongoing, they're persistent, and they're having an impact on that person's ability to function. So are they affecting them going to work? Are they affecting them getting up and doing things, going to do the shopping, for example? So if we're noticing those changes in anyone around us, but particularly within men, these ones that are more noticeable, reaching out and starting that conversation, because they may not reach out for support until they hit that crisis point. We've got another slide, I think, as well. This was related to your question, Leanne, this one. You had a question on the work.
Yes. So how can workplaces build a culture that supports men's mental health and encourages open conversations?
I think it's about, from seeing, the work we do alongside organisations and stuff, it's just creating the safe environment, making the conversations more comfortable to have. Certainly with things alongside mental health first aiders, that side of things. I think, reach out, look at who your mental health first aiders are, and have a broad range of who those mental health first aiders are, from management right down to floor staff, to be able to, so that everybody's got that option. And we're not just talking about men here, but just everybody's got that option to maybe approach someone and start that conversation and have that conversation.
Yeah, thanks, Stuart. I think it's really important. So something I do is support workplaces to train up first aiders, but also to implement mental health first aiders. And the best organisations have been where they've trained across, so that people have a choice about who they speak to. It's not necessarily having to go to HR or a manager. It may be someone in a different team you feel more comfortable having a conversation with. Also in the workplace, if you've got male role models who are able to be open, talking about their own experiences of mental health and being vulnerable, role modelling good self-care behaviour is really important as well. I know a friend of mine was saying in the pandemic, he noticed he'd got someone in his team who was regularly writing emails at 3 a.m. Well, he was like, okay, I need to check in on that person, because that person, is obviously working in a different way to that we were used to. So it's about, as a manager, he was like, it's fine if you need to do that on an odd occasion, but I want you to work in your work hours, because that's how we work normally. And the other thing is specific signposting for men. So we have a lot now in the workplace for women, particularly around menopause, which has been an area that in the last 12 to 18 months that has come up the agenda. Men need specific signposting for them within the workplace so they know where to go. So I think that's quite important as well.
Absolutely. I just jump in there on the signposting is where we've just recently done, over the last year, we've done a toilet poster campaign. Because we know, like, I'm as a man, I'm probably not going to go to my HR person and say what support is out there. But if I go to the loo and there's a poster up with a QR code that I can scan on my phone and say, right, this is, what is this? And do it in my own time with not having to let anybody know. It's about having those signposts around and being able to know what the support networks are around you.
Yeah, and there's a great idea, isn't it? The toilet campaign. So we're able to access the support, without having to tell anyone else if we don't feel confident doing that or having that conversation. Yeah.
I love that idea.
I can't remember what we've got next, Leanne. Is it a question or a slide?
Well, should I go into my next question, which is, what advice would you give someone who may feel embarrassed or even uncomfortable reaching out for support, which is something that you've just talked about, Andy, going to the toilet, you're in the comfort of your own situation, no one else has to know that you've scanned that QR code. But yeah, what advice would you have?
I think from my own experience, I always hid behind everything, and I was embarrassed. I felt uncomfortable about reaching out for support because I thought if I reached out for support, it would show my weakness. And if people found out about that, I know that's not true. I know that's far from the truth. I know that if we do reach out, it does work, and start those conversations. Feel okay to start that conversation, because I think most people will be surprised at what the reaction is.
Yeah, I was going to say the same, Stuart. So, you perhaps anticipate the reaction that you're going to get. And it may be very, very different. Try and find someone that you feel comfortable talking to. You may not feel comfortable talking to someone at work or with friends and family, but there are other resources. There's phone lines, there's other ways of reaching out. You've got Andy's Man Club as well. There's lots of different routes to support if you don't feel comfortable having that conversation in other particular settings as well. Sorry, Stuart.
I was just going to say, because often often when we're in those crisis times, we are embarrassed about reaching out, and we don't want to reach out to our colleagues because we think it's going to affect our work. We don't want to reach out for our friends because we think that they're going to take the mickey out of us, and we don't burden our families. But we know that is very different, and if we do start to talk about it, and it is becoming more common to talk about it, mental health is definitely something that's on most people's agendas these days.
It is, and hopefully, we're changing the workplace culture. We're aiming to have psychological safety where people feel more open about having that conversation, being themselves in the workplace. Is really important. We've got a slide on kind of how to have those conversations, which we've been talking through. So there was a campaign quite a few years ago called Time to Change, which they talked about asking twice. So we were saying we're very British in this country. We kind of say, how are you? And everyone will say we're fine.
I saw that campaign, and actually it has worked on me now. I'll obviously always say, how are you? But if I think that there's something not quite right with this person, then I'll actually ask it in a different way. And I'll be like, so are you, how are you? Are you actually okay? What's going on with you then? And to try and encourage them to talk if they do actually have any issues that's going on. But I wouldn't have thought about that actually if it wasn't for that campaign. So that's been a really good awareness piece for myself. Yeah,
I think Stuart had an example of the questions you use at Andy's Man Club, I think, at the beginning.
Using open questions is okay. On a Monday night, we base it on the sessions based on 5 questions. The first 3 questions will stay the same every week, and the first question is, how's your week been? Because we know we have a talking ball at Andy's Man Club, which is if someone's got the ball, it's their chance to talk. If they don't want to talk, no pressure, pass the ball. If we ask everybody how they were as the first question, the session would be over rather quickly because everybody go, I'm okay. Asking that open questions, it starts that thought process, and guys tend to go, yeah, actually my week's been all right, but Thursday this come up, or I'm going through this right now and I've really struggled on Friday. It starts that thought process to be able to start the conversation and open the conversation to lead into the session.
No, it's a great question for opening a session. So when I deliver training, I tend to ask people to do kind of introductions. We make a safe space for the room, but I ask people to think of something positive that's happened in the last week. And sometimes it kind of confuses people. They're kind of, it's about changing our mindset. So we do a positive one at the beginning, and we do something you're looking forward to at the end, because generally we have a lot of negative thoughts that we have throughout the day. It's a protective mechanism. It's to keep us safe, but actually we can rewire our brains by thinking more positively. So it's changing that mindset. And one of the tips on this slide as well is about not fixing. So when we're having conversations with people, we don't need to necessarily solve that person's problems. It's very much about the listening skills, non-judgmental listening, listening with empathy, and signposting someone to services. And that's what mental health first aid training does, and a lot of the awareness training that I deliver. It's a different way of having a conversation. So often in our job roles or supporting people, we think about fixing, but this is something very, very different. And I think we've got strategies and tools. Does that fit in with your question, Leanne?
Well, I have actually already asked a question on
the coping. So this is just some extra stuff. Thinking about what works for you. So in self-care and managing stress is very, very individual. Things like your non-negotiables. So what are the things that you have to do every day to stay well? So Stuart and I have already mentioned, we're particularly for me at the moment, I need to get out in the light. I need a little bit of exercise. I'm making sure I do that in the morning. I'm taking my medication and my vitamins, and boundaries as well, knowing our boundaries around what we, our energy and time. Time is really, really precious. And often we can hear ourselves saying yes to things that we want to say no. So our boundaries. Often I have a no in my head and a yes comes out my mouth. And I was meant to say no to that.
Stuart was talking about his boundaries earlier before we came on the live session. Actually, I really liked what the structure that you have in place, Stuart, in the mornings.
Oh yeah.
With regards to getting up in the morning.
Yeah.
But it is definitely putting those boundaries in place. It definitely changes it. I think also is identifying your red flags, and being able to express and feel those emotions, taking yourself out of situations if things are feeling too much, and not being embarrassed or feeling overwhelmed or feeling weak because you are stepping out of those situations. I think I said to you earlier, with my anxiety, it used to build to panic attacks on transport, public transport. And that come back a few weeks ago, I'll be honest. And what I did is the train was very busy. I felt the anxiety building, and I just got off at the next stop and waited for the next train, which was quieter, without any thought. Whereas I would have left myself in that situation several years ago, and it would have built and ended with a panic attack, and then me feeling rubbish about myself for the next few weeks. I think, and setting those boundaries in place, it is really important. I know we spoke about that quite a few times now, but just removing yourself, if you can remove yourself from situations and set those boundaries, I think it starts to feel a lot more comfortable. You start to feel safer, and that reduces the pressure that can build up. And if the pressure is lower, then obviously we can maintain and overcome most things.
So you both have that sort of routine in the morning where you wake up and you make sure you get outside and get some light, especially like you said, Claire, at this time of year, take your vitamin D. And then when you walk back in the house, that's when you can start your day, not as soon as you wake up in the morning. And Claire, last time we spoke, I think you were talking about devices and limiting that at when you go to bed.
Yes, yeah. So we have a kind of ongoing discussion in our house, and my husband still takes his device to bed. But we do know through research that actually it can affect sleep. It can affect you going off to sleep and waking in the night. So we do have generally a rule where we try to switch off devices. We don't take them into the bedrooms, and we come. Ideally, you're meant to come off them an hour to 2 hours before we go to sleep, but a lot of us don't do that. But it's very much about managing that in the day as well. This Tuesday this week was Tech Time Out Day. It's quite a new campaign, but it's encouraging people to think about their use of tech and come off it a little bit more and not be ruled by technology. It can be really helpful. We know we can do so many things on there now, but it can have a negative effect on our well-being.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and just to say, we've got our 5 ways of well-being on there. These are 5 known ways through research that we can manage mental health. So, excuse me, keeping learning, connecting with others, taking notice, which is that mindful stuff, focusing on what we're doing right now, giving to others, and also being active. So we know that exercise is really beneficial for mental health.
Yes, well, that's what we discussed back in May, wasn't it? Moving more for your mental health. So I have one last question, actually, guys, which is just looking ahead. What changes would you like to see in how society or workplaces approach men's mental health? I know we've talked about a lot today.
I think it's just about just continuing that awareness, signposting, opening up, creating the spaces that can open up those conversations, whether that's, being able to signpost to whether it's Andy's Man Club or other support networks. But there is a lot of changes going on. I've seen a lot of changes. You walk into offices now, it's not like desk after desk after desk, people sat back to back. There are safe spaces, there's comfy places, there's quiet places. And that mindset is changing, and that's changing across all industries as well. I'm seeing it, across construction, and I'm hearing it from guys that are walking through the door on a Monday night at Andy's Man Club.
Yeah. I think that shift in the workplace, that change in workplace culture, very much so. We're supporting people, as we said. Young people are looking for that when they're looking to go into organisation. How's that organisation going to support me? That new generation want to know what well-being benefits are there. Prioritising men's mental health in the workplace as well. We've got stuff around women, but that's specific signposting for men. But there's a lot we can do, and it's very much about awareness raising and support, I think. I've got one more slide, haven't I? There we go. Local and national support services. So locally now across the country, everywhere has a crisis line, which 111 option 2 takes you through to mental health services. So you'll get the first response team, so you can get some advice there. We've got Andy's Man Club and Stuart. I think we've got 3 localities here. We've got Huntingdon, Cambridgeshire and Peterborough. Is that right?
Yeah, we've got Huntingdon, Cambridge and Peterborough, and then we jump up to sort of Stamford, Corby, that area, and then down to sort of Essex at the moment. But we're working to build those networks. The idea for Andy's Man Club is we have a club within 30 minutes of every guy in the UK. So that's what we're working towards, and always will strive to work towards.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I'm going to follow Andy's Man Club on LinkedIn, and the number of people coming through the doors is just brilliant. The number of people accessing each week is amazing. Other local, we've got some walk and talk groups. I think for men to talk is local. That's kind of St Neots area. And then on the right hand side, some national support. So if men don't want to access through the work, if they don't want to speak to family and friends, these support services are always open. You can text 85258 to shout to 85258. That will be a text conversation if you'd rather not speak, or you can have a phone conversation with Samaritans at 116123. They are there 24/7 every single day, so there's always someone that will listen to you if you phone the Samaritans as well.
That is brilliant. Thank you so much, guys, for your discussion points today, and some really good tips and advice there, definitely. I think you're more than happy for anyone to reach out for you on LinkedIn or to drop you a note and talk to you about any issues that they might have. So that's absolutely brilliant. Is there anything else that either of you'd like to say before we say goodbye to everyone?
I'll just say quickly that, you know, Andy's Man Club, we've talked about Andy's Man Club and men's mental health today. But Andy's Man Club is a peer-to-peer support group that runs across the UK every Monday from 7 till 9 and online. If anyone wants to check out and find their local clubs, etc., please drop onto andysmanclub.co.uk, where you can pop in your postcode or your town and it'll come up with all the local clubs in your area.
Yeah, that's great. Just to add as well, if anyone wants some help or support with raising awareness within your organisation, within your workplace, that's what I do. So do get in touch for a discussion about what your needs might be in the workplace. And just say thank you, Leanne and Stuart. It's been really lovely to have a conversation today and to discuss this topic, which is so important.
Thanks both.
Thank you so much, guys, for your help and everything today. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you soon. Bye.